everyone, this is Megan.
And this is Steven.
And this is the Synchrony Podcast, where we talk about transforming apostolic dating culture and ending loneliness in the church. Y'all, listen, if you're like binge listening to our podcast, first of all, God bless you. If you're listening...
You are really bored.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it. If you're listening to this one right after last week's, the contrast in the amount of energy that I am bringing to this podcast is incomparable.
We were both zombies last week.
I looked like death on a cracker last week. I was trying to edit the podcast and I was like, people are going to think that I have a terminal disease. I looked so sick and sad and exhausted. And I was all three of those things, frankly, if I'm being honest with you, because I was really struggling to just get through the week. But today I took off work.
Yep.
And
we went bowling.
We did. We took the kids bowling. You
beat me.
I did.
You beat me.
Would not have happened if we didn't have the bumpers up for the kids, because I would have ended up with a couple of gutter balls that ended up being not gutter balls eventually.
Hey, take the win.
Yeah.
Lily was excited to beat her brother too.
This is meaningful because Steven is actually very good at bowling, of course, because he's very good at everything that's like a sport, just obnoxiously. But you used to bowl quite a bit.
Yeah.
And you
one can say that.
You have your cute little wheelie bag full of things.
Oh yeah. If I know we're going bowling, I know it sounds like, even if it's like a church outing, I'm bringing my bag, my ball, and my shoes.
You have multiple bowling balls.
I do. I have two.
And your own shoes.
Yep. One's more reactive to less oil.
Your little shiny cloth thing that you shine the balls with to get ready to bowl.
To get the oil off of the balls. Yep. Mm-hmm. And what's awesome is I have one that's more reactive when the oil is more dry.
If you guys didn't know this, there's oil on the...
And did you know there's actually over 24 different oil patterns too? That if you're in the pro tier, you have to actually learn the different oil patterns because the ball reacts differently.
Okay, so there's oil on the lane.
Yep.
For those of you who don't bowl because... you haven't, or you don't believe in it or whatever. There's oil on, there's some people who don't, and we're not hating it. I'm just saying, Steven might have a problem with it, but
I have an issue with it.
There's oil on the lane itself to help the ball slide down toward the pins.
Yep.
And evidently there's oil patterns.
Yep.
Anyway, we went bowling.
Yep.
Really, what is the difference? The main difference today is I have had enough sleep.
Yep. You slept in.
I have had very little stress today.
You even took a nap on our deck.
I did. I took a nap in a chair outside. The weather was absolutely stunning.
Today was a gorgeous day.
I spent time outdoors. I spent probably a cumulative 4 hours outdoors.
Which that's more than you did all last year.
I feel like a plant. Yeah. I feel like a plant that just has not seen the sun in weeks. And I just laid, I wore sunscreen and I had a hat on. Don't nobody freak out about my skin cancer prognosis.
No, she needs some vitamin D.
I did. I really did need some vitamin D. It was delightful. I played with our children.
Yeah.
We had a good quality time.
You planted some onions.
The kids, we had a couple of onions sprout in our pantry and the kids wanted to plant them. So I let them plant them in the mulch.
I came in from working on our tax stuff and I was like, there's onions planted in our mulch.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a fantastic day. I had a great time.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling super energized.
Yep.
Which is different lately. Woohoo.
Let's just take every Friday off.
I wanted to.
I know.
I was trying really hard this year to try to go down a day a week at my actual day job, and it didn't work out, unfortunately.
Actually, I think we had talked about that on the podcast multiple times about you want to do that. And I don't know if we ever updated people.
We haven't.
We don't have to do that right now. That could be an episode.
Yeah. I've been thinking that we need to just do sort of I've been thinking that, so comment, I'm torn about this. Comment below if you're interested in an update about where we are in our lives and the business structure and kind of what's going on personally, because part of me feels that's super navel gazing and not what people care about, and it's not pertinent to singles really.
Yeah.
And
but I think there's a lot of people invested in our podcast and in our business, and especially those who are invested in finding a spouse. And so the updates that we've given them, they're probably thinking that those are still happening depending on what it is. Mm-hmm. And I just want to be transparent.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about transparency. I just don't want to bore people with stuff that they don't feel like is relevant to them. So, basically, we had this plan coming into the year of what
Yeah.
how we thought things were going to work.
Got through quite the curveball.
All the curveballs, good ones, really,
Hmm.
but it took us by surprise, and it's really made us rethink our plan of how we're balancing my work and synchrony and ministry and all kinds of other stuff. So God is still kind of writing all that, but we're happy to update everyone on it if you care about it. If not, let us know what you care about. We can talk about it or not. But tonight is not going to be about that.
Nope.
I'm actually very excited because I got to do some stats.
Oh boy. Buckle up, Buttercup.
We love a good stats episode. It's not a ton of stats. It's not like any big numbers. I wanted to answer a very common question that I get with some actual data.
Okay.
So the common question is, how long before I can expect to be matched?
Yep. Which is a valid question.
Perfectly valid question. Definitely something I would want to know if I were signing up for a service for something.
Yeah.
Right.
If I was investing any money into something, I would want to know what the likely of my money actually doing something.
Right. So, and what I would like to unpack for people tonight is the time it has taken for our success stories couples to find each other.
Yep.
And what the couples that I'm kind of labeling as success stories are folks that are engaged or married or on the cusp of engagement. There's a couple that were like winkety wink, we're ring shopping, winkety wink. Anyway, so that is 12 couples that I'm going to take into account for the purposes of this.
Yep.
Cool. So what I did was I went and I looked at all of these couples that have come through the synchrony process. And for some context, these are folks who, have started working with us at various points in this process. Some of them, got married over a year ago. Some of them are still like coming up on their weddings or haven't set a date yet for their weddings. So a big variety in terms of where people are in their relationships. And these are not the only people from Synchrony who have met each other and are dating, right? We have a whole pile of other couples that are in their dating process, but it's too soon to tell how those are going to go. And we don't want to pressure people.
Yeah, we don't really start like checking the box of it being like a couple that we know are going to be relatively permanent until we start getting emails about like, hey, they're hint, there may be rings, which we obviously understand that could change.
Totally.
But
or
in,
like,
our, in our mind,
I'm moving across the country, or hey,
I'm moving to their state.
Right. I asked her dad for permission. Like those are kind of the things that we start to be like, oh yeah, like it's serious.
Yeah. And for us as matchmakers, it kind of like, okay, well, that guy or that girl is now off of the list pretty permanently until further notice.
I scream happy screams and dance around and like do this number where I wave my hands in front of my face rapidly like I'm overheating. I get really excited. Oh, really quick, before we go any further, I wanted to do a quick shout out.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing to do with this podcast topic. I just think it's fun. So my dear friend Markel, our dear friend Markel, and Michael, her husband, two of some of our closest married couple friends.
Yeah.
Right. Incredible people. We love them to death. We've ministered with them in different facets, both very cool, very talented. And Markel is a graphic designer and an artist.
Yep.
She went to art school. She's absolutely brilliant and just so creative. But she started an Etsy shop and I'm thrilled about it. We get nothing from this. She's not a sponsor. She doesn't know that I'm doing this. I'm literally just shouting her out because I think her designs are so cool and everyone should know about them. And I want her to get a ton of business.
Yeah.
I am wearing a shirt from her store. If you're watching the YouTube, I'll try to show it really quickly. Hold on. It says nailed it. And for those of you who aren't watching it on YouTube, it's got a picture of, it's kind of in the style of like, imagine like classic American like tattoo style, right? So it kind of looks edgy. It's got a skull and a rose beside the skull, red rose beside the skull, and the skull has a giant nail through it. And it says nailed it across the top of it. And then it has the reference to Judges 4, 19 through 21 under the skull. It looks so edgy and cool and like very like kind of like biker gang-esque, but it's this kind of inside joke about a great scriptural story. If you don't know the story, you should go read judges for 19 through 21, and then you'll get it. But it's super metal and very awesome. And I think it's a super cool conversation starter. So her whole like Etsy shop t-shirt design business is really about unique sort of almost inside joke Bible stories. And I love it. And I think the concept is incredible. And I want everyone to go buy one because I think they're awesome. She has another design. If you have a gorgeous bald man in your life, she has another design that shows on the front of it, it's like a few people running away from a bear that's chasing them, and like a little thing. And on the back, it says, "She bears got my back." If you don't know that reference, read your Bibles. But that one's in reference to the prophet who some kids made fun of him being bald and a she bear ate them.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. So it's like almost inside joke Bible stories, and I love it. I will drop a link to her store in the description.
Yep. And again, there's no kickback for this. It's just cool friends who do a really good job.
I just think it's awesome. I just think they're so cool and such an interesting like conversation starter out and about in the world, because they look very like palatable to the world, but they also have this kind of interesting like, oh, it's a Bible thing. Like what? Like what's going on there? It's cool. I'm a fan. Okay. Sorry. Back to the stats. So what I did was I took our couples and I lined them up, and I pulled the date that I did their consultation. So basically the date that they came into the matching pipeline.
Yep.
And then I grabbed the date that they met or matched with their final match.
Okay.
Before I get into this, what would you expect to be the like if you had to guess the experience of the men in these couples versus the experience of the women of these couples? What hypotheses would you have about it?
Women wait a long time to get a single date or two.
Mhm.
And then the ones that are successful, right off into the sunset after the, first or second one, depending on how well the match went.
Right.
And then the men probably go through 4, 5, 6 different matches in a very short amount of time, depending on how their circumstances are for matchability. And then if they stay, great, and they find someone right off into the sunset, or they either say this isn't for me, or they end up, due to circumstances, having to wait.
Yeah, I mean, we only have the ones that rode off into the sunset here.
Oh,
'Cause,
that's fair.
yeah,
So,
we're
okay,
only
so
looking at
I'm
the success
guessing
stories.
if okay, sorry, not all the guys.
Yeah.
Guys in particular probably had 3 to 5 dates on average. I'm sure that there's a couple of them that had only 1 or 2 dates.
Mhm.
And then the women probably only had 1 or 2, maybe.
I mean, a lot of your guesses are accurate, which doesn't surprise me because like I talk to you
I
about
was
this
like,
stuff
oh
all
my
the time.
goodness. It's
Right.
like I'm a part of this business.
Yeah, it's like for what it's worth though, like you don't see the data in the way that I do. Like you don't number crunch the people, you don't look at their consultation documents
Yeah.
unless there's a guy who requests to work with you
I
instead
number
of
crunch goldfish that are in my kids' car seats.
Yeah. That's true. Literal crunching.
Yep.
Actual crunching. You don't dig into the data and the consultation stuff, really. Okay, so the average wait time for women for our quote unquote successfully matched, engaged, married, in a very, very serious relationship ladies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their average wait time was 229 days.
Okay. So like what, 2/3 of a year?
229 days. Yeah, I mean, I should have put that in months too, I guess.
Yeah.
Hold on. I think someone's going to get to this faster than I'm going to write it.
229
divided by 30.
that's...
It's about 7 months. So
Yeah,
7.5 months.
So 2/3 of a year.
Yeah. So 228 days, 229 days. The average for our guys was 92 days.
Okay.
It gets a little bit more descriptive or a little bit more distinct when we look at median, right? So the median wait time for our ladies was 157 days.
Yeah.
The median time for our guys was 56 days. So
Okay.
100 days difference, more or
Yeah.
less,
Yeah.
right? And that's not insane. I
No,
mean,
I mean,
that's
no, it's not.
3 months of difference on average.
Yeah.
Right. But
Now, what was the end point for you? Was it like them saying, "Hey, we're getting married"? Was that what you're like,
no,
"Oh,
no, 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 no. The end point was when I matched them.
oh, okay,
So
okay,
this isn't their relationship.
okay"?
This
This is
isn't
not including
including,
their relationship.
no, this
Okay,
isn't including the span of their relationship. This is just from welcome to Synchrony to congratulations, you've been matched with someone.
okay,
Right. So still 7 months is a long
yeah,
time
yeah, for sure.
to wait for that. And then also, like, we're talking about averages and medians. I want to talk about some of the like extreme cases.
Yeah.
Right. So our longest wait time in this data set, our longest wait time. And again, like we've only been doing this since July of 2023. So not
Yes.
quite 3 years
Yeah.
of us doing this, right? Our longest wait time in the pipeline for one of these folks was someone who waited 809 days for their
So
successful
like two and a
match.
half years.
Yeah. 809 days. It's a lady, go figure. She came into the pipeline in October of
A
2023.
little over 2 years.
Yeah, in October of 2023, and met her final match in January of this year. So
You said 805?
809.
809. Okay, so yeah. So 2 years and like 3 months, something
Yeah.
like that.
The longest guy that we had in the pipeline, the longest wait time was 257 days.
Okay.
Now he is kind of a special case because he did take a break in the middle of that. So
Oh, I see.
I
Okay.
didn't remove the time of his break. I don't know how long it was. I
Yeah.
could probably go dig it out of email or something. But he stepped away for a little while because he had some medical stuff he had to take care of. He had some other stuff going on. So 257 days. Now these are not necessarily the wait times of the people who have been waiting the longest.
No, definitely not.
I have men who have waited longer than either of these people. I have
Yeah.
women who have waited longer than either of these people.
Yeah, I think correct me if I'm wrong, we have some men that are still in from the beginning.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and same thing for women too.
Yeah. So just because these aren't the oldest clients in terms of their longevity that
No.
we've ever worked with. But yeah, so that's a good amount of time to wait. And I want to call it out because I think it's really challenging for people when, a lot of times it's taken people a lot of energy and effort to build up the gumption to try this out.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Because it's a little bit, it's vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
You have to go sit with someone and like talk through your feelings and your hopes and dreams. And I think it kind of feels like, you're putting a lot of trust in someone. It's a very vulnerable experience for people who come into the process. So it takes some time sometimes for people to even get started. Like I have people who booked a consultation almost a year ago who still haven't booked it, like actually like come to the consultation. Like they bought it, but they haven't actually scheduled it. And we talk and they're just like, I'm just kind of not ready yet. Like I'm just, keep me on.
We're like, I'm glad you're not ready yet, but go ahead and just do your consultation because we might not have someone for you right now.
And
but then
sometimes
that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying we can be looking for you.
Right. Sometimes it's a financial thing, so my point is like, it takes a whole lot of time for people to even get to the point where they're ready to do that.
Yeah.
And then they come in and they're waiting for a really long time. It's just so different than the experience of trying to use like a dating app or whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a lot of time that you're waiting where there is no one.
Yeah.
So one example I'll pull out of here is one of our ladies that had a longer wait time. She was waiting for 234 days. She only ever met one match. And what you said a minute ago was true about like the number of matches, right? So if I'm like scrolling through really quickly, the average number of matches for the guys was 2.25.
Oh, that's lower than I thought.
Yeah, and the average for our ladies was 1.4.
Okay.
So
what was the median?
I didn't do medians for those, but so like I can just quickly read you through. We had I'll read the ladies first. So we had someone with 3 matches, 2 matches, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Okay. So a lot of folks who just met one person.
Yeah.
One and done. Our guys, we had 3, 2, 1, 4, 1, 2, 1, 4, 1, 5, 2, 1.
Yeah. So I want to call out something to some of the people who are like, wow, one person, and then they're now married to them.
Yeah.
But I want to say that like these are people who are choosing not to settle. Like and they are choosing to look for someone who fits their situation. They know that we are choosing the people that fit their situation the best,
Mhm.
right? For what we have, right now in our pipeline. And it was those people going, you know what? The circumstances all work out really well. Do I like this person?
Right.
Do I enjoy being around this person? And them going, yes, I really enjoy my time. So like you're not wasting the time of spending 6 months of finding out if that person can fit all of your question marks that you have in your life, because we figured out most of that for you
Mhm.
with you in the consultation.
Yeah. And, we like it when we can like match someone for the first time and they can ride off into the sunset. It doesn't always happen.
No.
Um, and, there are people who are not on this list who have met more people than the ones I just listed. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So, people, I have worked with guys who have met more than 5 matches. And they are still meeting matches. I have worked with ladies who have met more than 3 matches.
Yeah.
Right. So and that's not to say that the people that they ended up with are the only people that they ever could have ended up with.
No.
So, actually, that lady's not even the longest one. I had another female client who only ever met one person, and she waited for 364 days. So almost exactly a year,
Oh, wow.
between the time that she came in and the time that she met her last match, which is her only match, actually, just one. Um, so, everyone has different experiences, and these people that I'm listing off, like, you know, when we talk about like matchability,
Yeah.
right, in terms of like how narrow or how broad their pool of matches were, there's a wide variety of quote unquote matchability here in
Oh,
the
sure.
sense, yeah, some of the people in this list had very restrictive like criteria in the sense that like we had people here who couldn't relocate because
Yeah.
they were single parents and they had custody agreements that kept them where they were. Several of those. We had people, we have several single parents in here, several people here who, were like they were kind of like the only person in a specific demographic and they waited a long time to find somebody else in that specific demographic,
Yeah.
right? Actually, it's interesting. So I did a little bit of like of just like subtraction, I guess. So I guess the best way to say it is women on average will wait 136 days more than men.
Okay.
Okay. Um, or a difference of 100 days if we're looking at the medians, right?
Okay.
Um, the longest distance between the difference between the woman who waited the longest and the man who waited the longest is 552 days.
Oh, wow.
So the longest waiting female client, who never took a break, by the way, she was
Yeah.
always available. And the longest waiting male client, there was a 552-day difference between their two timelines.
Yeah.
And they didn't match with each other. I'm just comparing their wait times.
Okay. Can we do something that we didn't talk about before this?
Sure.
Well, we said that one lady was 809 days.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
she waited a long time.
Yeah.
But and again, I'm not saying that like we should charge more or less because like right now financially this business model is like not great, but Lord's blessing us, so we're not really worried about that right now.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, we're not making revenue.
yeah, right now this business is not a wise
It's
business
not
model. We're not making money off
it is
this.
not yeah, it's not it is self-sustaining. It is not lucrative in
Yeah.
any way, shape, or form. Well,
Yeah.
we can break all that down in our
Yeah.
we'll do an update and get everyone up to speed.
So she was the longest out of everyone. Of course,
Mhm.
she was legacy. She didn't have to pay a consultation.
Legacy means that she came in, just for people who don't know what that means, she came to us during our beta testing phase where we were doing everything for free. And then when we ended our beta testing phase and switched to our paid model, she got a legacy member subscription, which is a lower subscription rate
Yeah.
than what the running rate is for our ladies generally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She paid $315.
Oh, I feel better about that.
She paid $315. She did wait about 2 years and 3 months or so,
Mm-hmm.
but she found a husband for $315.
Yeah, and like when it happened so fast. Like
Like,
it
and
all
that's
fell
that.
into place.
Yeah, like that is some people's half of one of their months of car payments.
Wow. I never even put that together.
Like I know people that have car payments that are $700 a month.
Yeah.
And for half of that, less than half, they found a husband.
Yeah. I mean, the difference is you're already driving the car while you're paying that money. You
I
know what
know,
I mean?
I know.
Not to compare husbands to vehicles really quickly. It's worth the value. I mean, you're getting your value out of it.
It's just I've had people say, "Oh, that's a lot of money." I'm like, you're talking about a husband or a wife. You're not talking about getting a Xbox.
But it's not the problem is it's not a guarantee.
It's not.
Right?
It's not. But again, if what you're currently doing is limiting your ability to find someone,
right?
This is not that expensive to go out and help your search.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah, and so when it all boils down, like we're talking about matters of months here. I think the big
Sorry, I need to clarify why this is frustrating to me. So if you see me like getting tilted, as the young kids used to say probably 5 years ago.
What? Is that a thing?
Tilted. Like tilted is like angry. It's
like triggered?
Triggered, yeah.
Tilted. Is that a gaming thing?
Maybe.
I've never heard that word.
Really? Tilted?
No. I mean I've heard the word tilted,
yeah, sure.
but not to describe like
yeah, like I'm tilted right now. Yeah.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Man, the things kids
I mean,
say.
but the thing is, it's already outdated.
Yeah,
is the problem.
I usually am learning slang like 5 years too late, so that feels accurate.
Yeah,
I live under a rock.
The thing that's frustrating to me is one of the things that's limiting our ability to help this business grow in this, because we already know it can be successful.
Mm-hmm.
We just need more men to match women with.
Mm-hmm.
Our biggest problem is getting men to spend money on themselves.
Yeah.
And I know that's not the only factor, but a big one. We know it's a factor because we made it for free and now we have guys rolling in.
We do. I also think that is just the work of the Lord, because guys are finding us through ways like
I know, but also it happens to be free.
Steven is not giving you guys any credit.
No, absolutely not. Because I know how stingy guys are, because I'm one of those guys. That's why I love Facebook Marketplace. Like, these are the guys like, yes, it's a deal. I'm finally doing it.
I could do it by myself for free.
Yeah. So like, and for context, it's free up until your first date. And then if you want to continue using our services, then we ask for payment. But like, it's
Can I make a confession to you live on this podcast?
Have you not collected a single stinking payment from those guys?
So my confession is that I really have not been following up very well with the guys who have come through our freemium and because like I tried and some of them like got scared off. And I just want
even more of a reason why guys don't like spending money. And it's frustrating because they don't mind going and spend $300 on Pokemon cards, but they'll go and they don't want to spend $300 on finding a spouse.
I know. I'm not a good right now. Like we are not
just Pokemon cards. It's other things.
Yeah. Like we're not being wise business people right now. Like, and I'm kind of, you're not, just to clarify for the people, you're not frustrated at me right now.
No.
Because they can't tell that you're staring off into the void. They think you're looking at me.
I'm looking right into the camera at the guy who has been sitting there staring at his phone going, man, this is a really potentially good service, but it's a lot of money. We can get you a wife, dude.
Yeah. And
stop being afraid of commitment and using that as an excuse.
Yeah. I mean, again, 92 days is 3 months? Like ish?
Yes.
So the average wait time to find the person that you could be with for forever is 3 months, 90 days. And honestly, a good portion of that is taken up with like, some people are going to ask like, well, why does it take guys 3 months if having guys is the main bottleneck? It's me and it's my time, but let me explain like what this is going on here. So when a guy comes in for a consultation, right? I go through his whole consultation, hear everything about him, and I start looking through matches. And what that looks like mechanically is I have basically like a virtual pipeline management tool, but it's like a whiteboard, right?
Yeah.
Imagine like a virtual whiteboard with a bunch of columns on it. And every client gets like a little card that, think of it, you could almost think of it as like a sticky note,
Yeah.
right?
Basically a virtual sticky
that
note.
corresponds to them. And there's a bunch of different columns that represent different phases of our process, right? So there's a column for people that have booked but haven't come in for their consultation yet. There's a column for men who are available to match, women who are available to match, people that are in progress of a match, people that have, they're scheduling their match, whatever, blah, 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 blah. It helps me be able to see side by side who I'm working with.
Yeah,
and
where in the process they are.
And envision, I can filter them down based on certain criteria. It's super handy.
Yeah, people pause their membership. We can just move them over to the pause section.
It makes it easier to kind of like keep everything up to speed.
Yep.
So when I have a guy who's available, I filter down my column of available ladies, usually based on age range first, because that's the most
universal.
Yeah, that's like the easiest way for me to quickly pare it down to just who's the most basically feasible person for this person. So I'll filter it down to a specific age range, and then I will go effectively card by card for each lady. I'm looking at this guy's information and I'm scrolling through this column of ladies going, who's the best fit for this person? And I'll prioritize location, people who can be closer to them. And then I'm opening up their notes documents and I'm looking side by side. Did he say that he liked this? Did she say that she was okay with this? Is he okay with this part of her history? Is she okay with this part of his history? Do they want to do something similar in their ministries? Blah, 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 blah. It is a very, very manual process.
Yeah. And then even going down into, does he want kids? Does she want kids?
And if you're like, Megan, couldn't you use AI to do that? I could. I don't want to for a couple of reasons. One, it would take me a very long time to train an agent to do the things that I'm doing. I'm not saying it couldn't be done eventually.
Yeah.
But also, I don't feel comfortable taking people's notes documents and making them available to a large language model.
Yeah.
In order for me to feel confident doing that, I would have to be able to locally run an LLM,
which
on a
closed
money. On a closed server, which is expensive and complicated. And frankly, I just don't think it's worth it. I would rather maintain the human element of being able to go and see.
If we had 2,000 clients, there'd be a different story.
Right.
But it's right now, it's one of those things is.
And AI also can't recall things like, oh, they said this, but I could tell when we were talking about it that it was something that, they said they really didn't want to move. But when we talked about it, I remember them saying, like if God opened up all the doors, and that's not
it can't take context clues.
Right. It can't, and it can't bring in the nuances of, does this person fit what this person was looking for physically?
Yeah.
Right. Frankly, that's very hard for me to add into a document. It's difficult to assess.
Yeah. That would add a numerical value to attraction, which would also be a whole problem.
Problematic thing. So no, I can't use AI to do that. It has to be manual. So I have to go person by person. It takes a while. Then the process is I reach out to one or the other of them. Usually I reach out to the party first that I think might be the less likely to be open to the match.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes I'm like, oh, these people are going to be super gung ho to meet each other. It's going to be great. And I email them both at the same time.
Sure.
I email the party who I think is like least likely to be open to the match first. Because I don't want to get someone excited about something and then the other person be like, just kidding. That doesn't sound like something I'm into.
Yeah.
Right. So like, for example, if a woman has expressed, I'm really hesitant to date a guy who is like into hunting. Right.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I have a guy who's amazing, who I think is great for her, checks all the other boxes, and is also an avid hunter.
Also goes hunting, yeah.
I'd reach out to her first and be like, hey, like this isn't everything on your list, but man, he seems great. Like, are you open to it? So I'll reach out to them. I email them. I wait for a response. That can take days. Sometimes it can take weeks. It can take time.
It depends on how long it takes for them to respond to us.
Depends on how frequently people check their email. And I'm not here to judge because email management is my least favorite thing. But the time varies, right? So once I've heard from them, I got to reach out to the other person, say, hey, I've got this person to sound like someone you'd want to meet, whatever. People might have questions. We might go back and forth. So it might take me weeks between when I've identified a match for someone to get confirmation from both parties that, yes, they do want to get to know each other.
And then scheduling the actual meetup.
Then the scheduling. The way the scheduling happens is through an app called Calendly.
Which is wonderful.
Love Calendly. But what I have to do is I have to go in and create a meeting poll, right? And what I do is I've got my calendar up. Once again, just to make this perfectly profoundly clear, I work a 40-hour-a-week job.
Sometimes more.
This week it's been like a 45-hour a week job.
Yeah.
It just depends on the week. I work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. I take a lunch break, which I try not to look at screens during the duration of that lunch break as much as I can because
she works from home and she looks at screens all day.
I look at screens all day long. I work for a software company and I'm not trying to play the Pain Olympics here. I'm just being really honest with you guys. My job is hard. Like it is not like a fluffy, like, oh, I'm just here waiting for someone to send me something. Like I have to think really hard at my job. I work with incredible people. I work for an incredible company. I love them. I'm grateful for them. God has really blessed me in this organization and I'm so grateful. It is not easy work and I am tanked by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like I am crawling out of here like a zombie.
Yeah.
This vibe, this energy is because I did not work today.
Yeah, she took the day off.
I took a day off and I have so much energy. So that is my day. And then synchrony happens between the hours usually of 6 to 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
oh man,
if you are listening to the podcast on a podcast platform and not watching the video, not a whole lot will have changed except that my voice will probably be more tired sounding and Steven's voice might sound lower.
Yeah, mine's like 2 octaves lower.
It's now 2 days later than the previous portion of the podcast that you were listening to. What happened was we were recording that on a Friday night. And for the first time in the history of our podcast recording,
almost 100 episodes.
Yeah. Our H6, which is like our recording, like our mixer recording device that captures our voice, our audio, died without us noticing it midway through.
Yeah. When I first looked at it, it had 2 bars and I think the batteries, I knew the batteries I put in them had a little bit of, they were low, but they were charged, like just for about an hour. Well, apparently I found out later one of them ended up being defective.
Okay, well,
so that took away from the battery life.
It died on us, and so and then when we were gonna try to fix it that night, but then our 6-year-old
yeah, and also for the first time in 100 episodes,
our 6-year-old woke up at like 1 a.m. or however late, it was like midnight, and walked out to the office terrified because she had woken up in the house and could not find us. So we felt terrible. So we did not finish the podcast that night. Steven, in a fit of productivity and frustration over not being able to see everything going on with the podcast, completely reconfigured this whole podcast space. You're not going to be able to see a lot of this.
I'm going to try to show them something.
Yeah, you're not going to see a lot of this off frame or in the frame, but he like cleared a bunch of stuff out, reconfigured where our mics were so that he could mount the iPad that he's using.
You can't really tell, but the stuff has moved.
So that the H6 is like right in front of his face. Our baby monitor is more visible. So like he's totally reconfigured everything in terms of the structure of where things are. And in the interim, he got a little bit sick and grew 2 days more beard.
Yeah.
And I went to church today with the kids and am in a different outfit. So, anywho.
I think I'm in a different outfit.
We don't remember. We'll find out when we edit the video finally. Okay, so what I was ranting about before this was basically like why it takes so long for dates to happen. I'm not going to belabor that point anymore. The basic idea is wait time happens for both genders, even for guys who are quote unquote relatively easy to match, because it just takes time to get through all the logistics of working on a very limited available schedule for us and working on the availability of the people that we're working with. So I feel like, and like having stepped away from this for a couple of days, I feel like I complained a little bit too much in the last part of the episode. I'm feeling like guilty about it.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody to think that we don't do this because we absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Like
if anything, we want to do more of it, which is part of the why it's disappointing for us.
Yeah, it's frustrating that we don't have more hours in the day to put toward this. And I know, like for me, like it's personally a struggle because my like core fear is disappointing people or like not making people happy. I'm a bit of a pleaser that way. I'm getting better. Like I'm a recovering people pleaser. But it is really devastating to me when like people are frustrated at the pace at which we're doing stuff or whatever. For good reason. Like I get that they want it to move faster, they want it to happen faster, and I'm not able to deliver that. But we're making it, and we're trying to find ways to make it more efficient, and we are considering options and looking at other ways. We can dig into more about like our schedule restructure when we do that update that we talked about doing,
Yeah.
about life and whatever. But okay, so backing way out, I think the core idea here, the data that we wanted to share, is just about transparency with waiting. So what I tell our ladies when I'm meeting with them now, if you came into the pipeline like months and months ago, this might have been very different than the messaging that you got from me, because I think we've learned more about it. I try to be really upfront with people early about their matchability, right?
Okay.
And again, if you haven't heard that word before, it's a made up word that we came up with. Matchability does not mean how attractive someone is.
Yeah, I think a lot of people assume that.
Right. It's not about how dateable someone is. It's not about how great of a dating partner or a spouse you would be. It's about how an individual's needs and preferences and goals open up potential dating prospects within our pipeline and how they narrow them in. Right. We've talked about what relates to matchability, what increases matchability. I'm not going to get into all that. But after I've met with someone for the first time, I try to be as clear as I can with, this is how big the pool is for you, probably based on what you're telling me, and how quickly I am guessing I would be able to match you. And I'm giving them really, really broad timelines. Like,
Yeah.
I'm expecting maybe something in a few weeks, or I'm expecting something that might take months. Or and sometimes I'll say, I think we're looking for a needle in a haystack. It might take a very, very long time, and I'll give them some examples. Like, most of the time, ladies are waiting for months. I do work with clients that have waited years. I just want to be upfront with you that you might be toward the longer end of that spectrum based
Yeah.
on what we're talking about here. And so most people are really, in the moment, I think they're okay with that. I think it can sit poorly with people later on. And then our goal is to try to maintain contact in the time that they're waiting. I'll be honest and say that, like, that could get better. Like, we're
Yeah.
struggling with that. I'm struggling with that logistically.
It's better now than it was 2
Mm,
years ago?
no, it's not.
No.
It's not. It's actually probably a little bit worse, because 2 years ago I had a much smaller pool of people, and I was able to
Even
give,
with Brittany?
yes, because I don't know if I'm
Well,
gonna,
well, yeah, well, I'm saying people were. Well, the thing is 2 years ago you weren't doing check-ins every few months.
right.
So
So
now we are. So that's at least some sort of contact.
yeah, we did make check-in meetings available to people. If you don't know what that is, you can, if you're a client who's in the pipeline, you can always schedule a free check-in meeting with me. I have a few slots open every week, where people can just chat and, talk through how things are going. I love to do that. It refreshes me on how everyone's doing. It also is a great time for me to update what I'm looking for them if anything has changed, right? So we try to do that. And for a while, we had some other kind of initiatives about connection, like maintaining connection with our pipeline. I want to do more of that, but it's not as high of a priority for me as matching is. And I'll be honest, guys, like, I want to be doing weekly check ins and newsletters and seminars and updates and having a more like effective online community. I can't make time for that now until I do my best to find a better and more efficient way to get these matches pushed through.
Yeah.
And we're looking at ways to do that. So I'm not going to get all into the details of everything there, but I just want to call out that the wait time is not comfortable for anyone. And I know that. And I'm not asking for anyone to be okay with how long it takes. Right. I will say, though, that going back to their stats about the number of matches, like, the majority of women in these quote unquote success stories met one person. Some of them waited for over a year before I could introduce them to that person.
Yeah.
Um, but it's worth remembering that, like, I'm going to do my best not to bring you someone who I think is a waste of your time. Not that any person is a waste of time, but a match
Well,
that's
I
not
mean, it is a waste of time if you're bringing someone to them that can't move and you
right.
logistically have to have someone move to you. So yeah, it is a waste of time.
Exactly. The difference here between going into a dating app or going into a Facebook group is it can feel like the options are endless because there's so many people. There's just a high quantity of people in those groups. But in reality, there's a relatively small number of people who can live where you live, do what you need them to do, and be the kind of person that you need for your life.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to waste your time with people who I don't think have a fighting chance at building something with you.
Yeah.
Um, and, we're going to focus on quality over quantity. I would rather it take a long time for me to be able to connect you with someone that you could ride off into the sunset with than speed through the process and throw a bunch of people at you and just take up a lot of your time and energy with folks that can't do that.
Yeah. And I do want to throw out this, and this wasn't like added in our notes or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
but we kind of have a limited amount of attempts with some people.
Sure.
So, like, we can't just throw spaghetti at the wall, even if we wanted to, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes there's people who are skeptical of the process. And
Yeah.
if you throw 4 or 5 or 6 people that are nowhere near what they're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to say this isn't worth my money. And we've
Right.
had people leave that says like, this isn't worth my time,
Mm-hmm.
when really we were just trying to get a feel of, of what they were looking for, because maybe they weren't clear or whatever the situation was.
Yeah. And
And
I
so
don't blame people for stepping away if they're like, this doesn't feel
no,
like it's right for
I
me.
know, but I've had people say, well, why don't people go on more dates?
Mm.
And one of the things is, well, we want to make sure to, when you do go on a date, because what it does is it gets your hopes up, it
Yeah.
gets your excitement up, it gives you the butterflies of getting excited to go on a date, especially if you haven't been on a date in a couple years.
Right. It can be fatiguing to do that over and over and be disappointed.
Yeah, so we want to give you the one that actually gives you your best foot forward
Yeah.
versus just rapid firing speed dating with random people that aren't
Right.
going to work for you.
Right. So I think my goal with this whole episode is just transparency.
Yeah.
I think people deserve to know the logistics of what they're kind of getting into. Again, this is different than any other type of dating structure that we are commonly hearing people use, and it can feel um in some ways much more restrictive, I think, than like dating on a Facebook app or
Sure.
Facebook group or in an app or
Yeah.
whatever. Um and I think that's true. I think that the ultimate quality of where you end up can be better depending on what you're doing, but I just want people to understand what it is that how it works. I want them to feel like they have I also want them to hear if you feel like you've been waiting, if you've been in our pipeline and you've been waiting for 3, 6, 9 months and there hasn't been an option for you, I don't want you to lose hope.
No. And also not feel like you're the only one that's doing that.
Right.
We have other clients that are doing that.
Plenty of other people that are still waiting and have waited for a really long time. And it's not because there's anything quote unquote wrong with you, right? It just takes that one person who is a good fit for your unique circumstances to show up. And in some cases, like, some of the people that we matched, I really can't imagine another person with, I mean, I'm sure there are other people that they could end up with, right, in their lives. But it took finding someone who was a really, really unique fit for their very unique life, and what they're called to do and what they feel like they want to do. Um, and so it's not, you can't be with just anybody, right?
Yeah.
Um, and the more kind of unique criteria or elements you're bringing into this process, the more unique that potential match has to be. So that's not on you to deal with. That's on us to deal with and to continue to search and to continue to find more options and optimize our processes. And we're committed to doing all of that as much as we can with the resources and time that we have available to us. Um, but I just want people to know I want you to feel like you have agency and ownership and that you can peek behind the curtain and send us feedback if you have concerns about it or comment if you have questions.
Yeah.
I think one of my biggest fears with synchrony is that people feel like they've been cheated or like
Well,
taken for a ride.
I can see why that's a concern, right?
Mhm.
Because this is something that you don't want it to be sold as a gimmick,
Right.
right?
I don't want it to feel like snake oil.
No, exactly. And the
Yeah.
thing is when we were first pitching the idea to people, there weren't a lot of people who had ever done this before,
Sure.
successfully at least.
Yeah.
And so the idea of us saying, "Hey, try out this thing with this method that we think works,
Yeah.
and give it a try," I can see why that is the case. But now we have 12 marriages,
Yeah.
and that's not a crazy number, but
Mhm.
it's more than zero.
Yeah, I mean it's
you
24
know,
people who
it's
came into
24
this
lives that are
process.
changed,
Right.
and now babies, all the babies.
See, I feel like I feel like every time we talk about the marriages and you talk about the babies, you kind of become one of those like birth rate people. Like you're
No,
not.
well,
That's not who
it's
you
not. But
authentically are, but that's what you
I
sound
was
like.
I was telling someone the other day. I was like, you guys want to see our first synchrony baby? And then they're like, you've got to come up with a different way of saying that.
Yeah,
Like synchrony baby sounds weird.
yeah, no, we don't want to
They're like,
take.
it sounds like a test tube baby.
We don't. Yeah, no, not good, not good. We don't want to take credit for people's offspring.
No, but
Yeah,
also it wouldn't be here either.
yeah. Theoretically, that unique life is there
Yeah.
because this couple came together. So anyway, I hope that you got something out of this. Sorry for the weird disruption. Do you have anything to add to this that you can vaguely remember not talking about in the last?
Dude. No, we missed. There's like 25 minutes of footage we lost
Yeah.
because of the sound going out.
I feel like it was really good too.
I know. I was
There
really
was
pumped
like
about
good
it.
stuff that we were gonna say.
Yeah. No, not that I can remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
It's been 3 days.
Yeah. If you have questions about this or feel like we left some stones unturned, please comment below. Comment below just because you want to. Comment below because you like Markel's shirt design that I was wearing last time we were recording this. Comment below if you want to share your favorite color. We don't care. Just comment.
Also, if you like disc golf.
Yeah. Steven's wearing a disc golf shirt. Not designed by Markel.
No. I'm going to try to get her designed some. We'll see how it goes.
Anywho, I'm back to being tired.
Yep.
And sleep deprived. Although you did let me take a really nice nap this afternoon, for which I was very grateful. So this is going to go out late. Sorry. We'll try to get it out as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
And yeah, in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great week. I am going to be spending some time this week doing some data analysis and a whole bunch of matching.
That's right.
I got a pile of people in my scheduling.
We had 5
columns.
guys on Saturday come in.
Well, we had 3, but yes, we had 5 scheduled.
5 scheduled.
3 showed up, or 4 showed up, and one of them could not participate in the program for reasons. Just part of the job.
Well, yeah.
That's where the screening part comes in.
Yeah.
Allow me this opportunity to say that we have not and will never connect people solely for the basis of finding them a pathway of immigrating to the United States or any other country. Just in case that wasn't abundantly clear. We are not a transnational marriage market in the business of...
Who knows? Could be a side business.
No, that will get us arrested. Stop.
No, I'm just kidding.
Now is not the time to joke about such things. Not in the current climate.
No.
Anyway, hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week.
All right. Well, I love you.
Love you too, baby. Thank you for reconfiguring all this. There's so much space now.
I know.
You just found so much room. It's great.
I know. I'm excited.
Yeah. Okay, let's get this edited.
Yeah.
All right. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.